Hyundai is killing it. With Hyundai greenlighting the Vision N, they're about to show the entire automotive industry exactly how it's done and the way of the future. What's up and welcome back to the Metalhead Car Show. Hyundai has apparently greenlit the Hyundai Vision N, an absolutely stunning sports car showing Hyundai's future whilst they're looking into the past. So today I want to go look at the Hyundai Vision N, what I think about it, and how it's probably going to be made into production. Let's get right into it. When the Hyundai Vision N was released last year, I was thoroughly impressed by it. I thought it looked so cool and kind of this modernized, almost cyberpunk-ish Hyundai DeLorean. Just Hyundai was making 540 more horsepower than a DeLorean. Using 1980s styling cues, but also styling cues that are currently being used on Hyundai products, this thing seemed pretty legit. Now, I was fairly skeptical just due to, well, exactly how it looks, but nonetheless, I thought this was a phenomenal concept car. And due to, that's a very popular opinion, and everyone seemed to love this thing, it's being greenlit. Now, what makes this thing super special, other than the 1980s styling, was Hyundai went and made a rear-wheel drive sports car that made 670 horsepower. And unlike some of its competition, it wasn't just an EV, it was actually a hybrid, but it was a hybrid with two electric motors at the rear end, along with a hydrogen engine, making this an extremely unique hybrid. Now, did I think this was actually going to come to production? Absolutely not. Although I wanted it to, I really didn't think it would. They already had one 1980s concept car that people seemed to love, but Hyundai just kind of dropped and moved on from, so I kind of figured the same thing was going to happen here. But we're actually getting this, and I think it's a absolutely brilliant move. Now, the reason I say that is nostalgia's in right now. Now, this isn't the first time car companies really looked to the past for future ideas. If you go back to like 2003 to 2005, it was hot with the American car companies. You had Ford, Dodge, and Chevy all kind of looking to the 1960s to go get inspirations for new cars. And right now, we're in a very different era. Opposed to looking at the 1960s, 1970s, we're currently looking at the 1980s and early 1990s. Some examples of that coming from Lamborghini, Bugatti, and Nissan. But here's where Hyundai has them all beat. As the Lamborghini and the Bugatti are all very low production cars, this will be going into production in a full scale. Now, despite the Nissan Z is a full production car, the only really 1980s, 1990s bit to it is the taillights, which are heavily inspired from the Nissan 300ZX. As this one is full-on 1980s nostalgia, despite it was based off a 1974, maybe 1975, Hyundai Pony. And this is where Hyundai is killing it. They are seeing this trend of nostalgia coming from like the 1980s, likely made very popular from some like Stranger Things, and they are running with it. They've already had some cars that really taken on this kind of 80s cyberpunk sort of thing and pulled it off really well, but they're going into an all-new level that really nobody else has done. So I would say they're keeping up with the times, really they're staying ahead of the curve, and it's so cool to see. You see some companies like Ferrari, where if they brought out a brand new car that had like a Testarossa rear end, it would do so well. Adding to that, a Testarossa rear end with pop-up headlights, so it needed to be an extremely low production car, it would sell out immediately. But unless they're offered millions of dollars, Ferrari does not do nostalgia, and they are not going to pick up on this trend. But another really big question is, what are we actually going to get? Because a lot of concept cars look absolutely outstanding when we first see them, and then they're kind of toned down for when they actually come to production, which is what it is. There's a lot of safety regulations every company needs to go by, and we don't always get exactly what's advertised. And I think this is going to be kind of the same thing. Now, Hyundai is not stupid. They're going to keep this shape. I think it's going to look very similar to the concept car. But I don't think we're going to get the giant spoiler. I don't think we're going to get the rocker panels. I'd be shocked if we got those wheels. And that giant vent on the side, I think is also kind of out to some extent. I think when it comes to production, we're going to be getting at least one model that I think is going to be like single motor EV, rear wheel drive, maybe 220, 250 horsepower, and that'll be an entry level car. And if they can keep that styling with that power level to a lower dollar, that thing's going to sell absolutely phenomenal. Next up, I would assume they would make a Vision N GT, and this would be the same sort of thing, a bit more aggressive styling, maybe bring back some vents, maybe bring back a small wing, and it would be a dual motor rear wheel drive version of it, making about 500 horsepower. And then you'd have the Vision N GTR SS, whatever you want to call it, which would be the dual motor with possibly a hydrogen system. Now I say possibly because it's going to be a really complicated system to run, and in Canada there isn't many hydrogen stations. It's not going to be a car you could really use. If I bought one in Ottawa, I am shit out of luck. Here's a map showing all of the hydrogen stations in Canada. I am screwed. But it's something that some people are starting to take a little bit more seriously. So will we get it? Maybe. Worst case scenario, it ends up being a hybrid with a gas-powered engine. What gas engine? Well, honestly, I think it'd be something similar to what we're getting in the Elantra, maybe even the Elantra N. I've heard some people say they really want to see it with a Genesis 5-liter or one of the twin-turbo V6s from like the Kia Stinger, but truthfully, I don't see that happening at all. I think this is primarily going to be an EV with the optional hybrid system to go along with it, and we're not going to be seeing a V8 go into this, or I doubt we're going to be seeing a hydrogen system go into this. And I think with the cost, if they do a 670 horsepower or like a 700 horsepower version with the big wing and the vents and the wheels and the hydrogen system, maybe making again that power, I think this is going to end up being a $150,000 to $200,000 car. But I was saying earlier, I want to see an entry-level version of this that has all the styling with like 250 horsepower. If they keep that around like $35,000 to $40,000, they would absolutely kill the market in the best way ever. I think this thing is brilliant. I'm really looking forward to it. The only thing that I think could make it even better is if it had gull-wing doors, but I think it's going to tiptoe way too close to the DeLorean, so oh well, it's a small thing. Hyundai, I'm rooting for you, and if you have a press car that will be coming to Ottawa, I would love to check it out. Well, I want to know, what do you think? Are you super into this, or are you passing it off as just another Hyundai and it doesn't matter? Let me know in the comments. Thank you all so much for watching. Like, subscribe if you've enjoyed what you've seen. I post on Tuesday, Friday, and Sunday, and I'll see you later.